혼자 주저앉아 생각만 커져가 언제부터 넌 날 아프게 했던가 너조차도 모르잖아 너도 아프잖아 cause you're mine I just wanna blow your mind 이렇게 넌 또 멀어져만 가는데 아무렇지 않은데 그렇게 말하는데 사실은 내가 그게 아닌가 봐 I want you to be a light baby You should be a light 더는 아프지 않게 네가 웃을 수 있게 I want you to be a light baby You could be a light 이 밤이 너에게 솔직할 수 있게 너도 아프잖아 cause you're mine I just wanna blow your mind 이렇게 넌 또 멀어져만 가는데 아무렇지 않은데 그렇게 말하는데 사실은 내가 그게 아닌가 봐 I want you to be a light baby You should be a light 더는 아프지 않게 네가 웃을 수 있게 I want you to be a light baby You could be a light 이 밤이 너에게 솔직할 수 있게 이제 내게 약속해 하루에 몇 번씩 혼자라 느껴도 널 버리지는 마 나야 여기 잠깐 멈춰서 새끼손가락 걸고 이제 내게 약속해
So we're at your week. We're at the bias week for you. I'm going to let you take charge of our conversations here, mainly because, of course, it's your right as...
Yeah, all right. I'm a little nervous. I hope I do him justice.
Oh, he looks so cute. I'm not going to be able to deal with this slideshow because he's going to be like, Jimin's so cute. To like...
I know, whiplash.
Yeah.
All right, so I figured we could talk a little bit about his background, and then we can just get into it from there.
Yep.
All right, so Jiminy, Park Jimin.
Jim.
He grew up in Busan, South Korea.
Busan, 아이가. That's the only Satori word I know. Sorry, continue.
Anyway, so it's outside of Seoul, with Seoul being the capital and the quote-unquote biggest city, best city. Not best, but just like, how every country has their, like, big city. Like, for America, it's New York. For UK, it's London. For Korea, it's Seoul. So he grew up in Busan, which is like 2 or 3 hours by train outside of it. He developed an interest in pop and lock dancing in 8th grade. And then he attended high school in Busan called the Busan School of Performing Arts, where he studied modern ballet, modern dance, and hip-hop, popping. And also he developed an interest in tumbling, which is, all of the, like, jumps that he likes to do and flips in the air. Yeah. So he was the top student of his year. Immense talent. Very talented.
Is this a rumor or is it true that his teacher paid for his tuition?
Rumor. It's not him, I think.
I don't know. I've heard that somewhere, but I didn't know if it was true.
No, I don't think so. So according to his teachers, he was just always in the practice room. He was always trying harder than other people at dancing because he's a perfectionist. So he decided to go to Seoul to audition to be an idol, and he passed his big hit audition. And by the way, so like a while ago, there was like an interview, I can't remember which YouTube media channel it was, might have been Korea Now, where they did an interview with his former teacher.
I remember, yeah.
And the teacher said that Jimin came to him and told him that he was thinking of auditioning to be an idol, and the teacher was like, I don't recommend this. Think really hard and, be careful about your decision because it would be a very difficult path. And Jimin decided that that is what he wanted to do, and now that teacher is really proud of him, obviously.
Aww.
Like, he's the pride of his entire high school.
I can imagine why.
Yeah.
He's like the pride of Korea.
Yeah, but just like his high school, like, I think I saw some stories about, like, he still donates money and whatever else there, and like
I think he pays for like a certain number of scholarships, and I think it might be female scholarships.
That's
one
awesome.
one of them pays for a certain amount of female scholarships, but it might be Hobie. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but just like the way they dote on the places they came from is just so heartwarming to me.
Yeah, those videos of him from when he was still in school, he was phenomenal. I mean, he is phenomenal, but even back then he was phenomenal for his age. Like, wow.
Oh yeah. So in terms of BTS, he was the last one to join, and according to him, he trained for a year. The thing with him though is like he had no prior background in singing. So in like his old V lives, he talks about how he practiced like crazy to try and catch up to everyone else because he always felt like he was behind. And if you think about it, as such a perfectionist who was talented to begin with, went to a performing arts school and still practiced like crazy to hone his talent, all of a sudden he's dropped into a group where he's supposed to also sing, and then everyone else around him has some experience with singing or rapping or whatever, and he's just like, I have none, I am so behind. So he used to be very sensitive about his singing abilities, and there's just the like infamous like clips of like the V Live he did in like 2016 where he talks about how much he was struggling with his singing and how he felt really like discouraged. And I was just thinking about this as I was making my notes, because we just watched like Most Beautiful Moment in Life, HYYH, like their concert the other week. His voice was so good. His singing is phenomenal.
He could hit notes that like hardly any male could hit.
Yeah,
like,
and the way
such a young age.
The way he flows through those notes.
Yeah, and his tone and his ability to stay on pitch, like he was pitch perfect during that that performance. I remember watching it, like the whole show when we were watching Bang Bang Con, and I was like, Jimin is pitch perfect on every note. Like he's insanely good. Yeah, and it's actually one of my notes, how much I hate the narrative of the fact that Jimin is a weak singer or he can't perform live as well as other people, because it's not true. That is just like, that's a narrative that's been going around because of people that hate on him, and it's so not true at all. Like,
I like how we have this picture of him with a gun as you say that.
But yeah, like I think it makes a lot of sense why he would feel that way and why he would be so sensitive about his voice, but he really had no need to be.
No, he still doesn't. He just gets even more phenomenal with time. So his initial stage names included Baby J,
I remember,
Baby G, and Young Kid. And okay, I can understand Baby J, Baby G. Who the hell came up with Young Kid?
Young Kid sounds like a rapper name.
Yeah, but like, as opposed to what, an old kid?
Yeah, true.
Also, none of these names have longevity, because as he continues to get older, his name would be very weird, and it would just make him feel stunted.
And like, that reminds me a lot of I've told you a couple times that I've been going on binges of like the old videos and watching up to date. And Jimin goes through this phase of like, when he first debuts, he's the baby. Like, he uses his charm and his cheeks and his cuteness. And then when they get to like kind of boy in love era. He's like, I want to be a man. I'm a man. I don't want to be cute anymore. I want to be manly. And like he's so flirty and like um and it's so funny. I think he even says in one of the lives like, oh, I don't want to be just cute anymore. I want to show you different sides of me. I want to be something else.
He wants
So
to
yeah,
be a human, not a cardboard cutout of a human.
yeah. So those names would not have stayed with him. He would have gotten to like boy in love era and hated that name so much because it would have like forced him into this category.
Yeah, yeah. Can you imagine the way he would have been received with that name in like America, for example? Like,
Yeah.
oh, is he the baby of the group? No, he's the third youngest. Oh,
Yeah,
well,
right.
then why is he the baby?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so speaking of babies, he also has his own younger brother by like IRL, who is the same age as Jungkook. So, I think he just dotes on Jungkook a little bit because of that as well. Obviously, he dotes on all of them.
Yeah.
But that especially.
Mm-hmm.
So that is his background, and then obviously through the years he has just he's honed his dancing, he's honed his singing. He's incredible. I love him.
Yeah.
That's the background section. Did you have anything else to add to that?
No, not in terms of background.
Okay. So I just figured we could talk about his personality traits a little bit.
Yeah, well, we just go like point by point of things.
Okay. So first thing I just wanted to highlight, because I relate to this so much, is that he's a perfectionist. Just like there is no critic as harsh as himself. No one will ever be as hard on him as he is on himself. He has a very high personal standard. And I one thing that exemplifies that to me is like in one of his V lives, he said himself that and in interviews, that he wanted to have a voice that people say, like, oh, he has a voice that touches and moves people. Like, what a high bar. Granted, he's exceeded it, but like to have that kind of self-standard is just incredible to me.
And I mean, I think he's gotten a lot better at managing it. And like people who say he's insecure or like blah, 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 that's a very old narrative now. And I think it's more that he's still a perfectionist very much, but like he knows his ability and his strengths and his weaknesses. And I think he's more happy with them these days, which is a character development I like to see.
I would also say that it's he doesn't have a lot of confidence when he doesn't feel that something is the best. Like he doesn't want to it's the whole, dilemma of being an artist. You don't want to share when it's not perfect. And like in one of their other like V lives, Taeyong used to say like that Jimin didn't have much confidence when they debuted. Not because of them, but because of himself. Like all of his criticism is always directed inward. And like another example that sticks to my mind is in like Burn the Stage, the YouTube documentary, where he was just really upset at his performance of Lie in Chile, I think. How he was just like my voice cracked, my microphone fell, and like the staff with him is like, what are you talking about? Those are like such minute issues. No one cares. But he was just devastated because in his mind, where he wants to be and where he wants to be is this like such a beautiful ideal that he doesn't leave room for reality sometimes.
Yeah, and I think it's very common with a lot of personalities where it's like, yes, I know that I don't need to be perfect, but I want to be perfect.
But I want to be.
Yeah, I know I don't need to be, and I know that I shouldn't be down on myself, but I am because I want to be perfect. And that's just very common. And honestly, like I feel like a lot of the ways people try to deal with that is like, you did great. You don't need to be perfect. There's room to fail, or like people don't notice. Like the best thing you can do for people like that, in my opinion, is just to be like, well, it's okay if you feel like that. Like it's fine. Like, you can't win them all, but, you know, like, I don't know, like, instead of trying to say that there's a problem, that you shouldn't be striving for perfection, that you should look at it in a different way, to be supportive of the fact that these people are striving for perfection and that's okay. And yeah, it might not be healthy, but like, just to reassure that it's okay anyway. Like,
yeah. I agree that you shouldn't tell people, like, no, don't strive for perfection. It's like, yeah, okay.
yeah.
The way I usually like it when people tell me that is, like, don't tell me if I say it wasn't perfect. Say, minimize the imperfections. Say, like, yeah, I vaguely noticed, but I only noticed because I know what your performance is supposed to look like. The average person wasn't looking at your hand when you did this. They were looking at your face, so it was missed. Or say, the audio quality wasn't, like, accurate enough to hear your voice, like, change pitch for a minute. Like minimize the mistakes that seem so gargantuan in their minds, to be like, yeah, sure, it happened, but it wasn't as big as you think it was.
I tell you what, the other thing that I love about Jim in regards to this is the other side of it is when he knows he's got it bang on, everything perfect, how much he owns that shit. Like, yeah, I got everything right today. Everything was perfect. Go me.
I love when he's feeling himself. Like in concerts, when he's just having a good concert.
Yeah.
And he's just, like, you know, dancing and feeling himself on stage, especially when they have their, like, free-for-all and songs. And all of those, like, fan cams, there's just so many of them where he's just like, I'm owning this. And everyone's like, we agree.
And that's why he has such charisma and sexual, like, energy about him, because it's not that he's trying to put on something for other people. It's like, yeah, I know I'm doing great. I know I'm singing great. I know I look good. Like, and that confidence is what's so sexy about him.
It's magnetic.
What's so appealing. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like it's good to have both sides. Like, a lot of people are just kind of in the middle of, like, oh, I'm happy if I do well, and if I do bad, then that's annoying, but it's whatever. And then you have people like Jimin, who is like, if I don't do what I want, I'm really devastated about it. But if I do what I want, I will literally own that and be so happy about it. So, like, it doesn't mean that one of those ways is wrong and one of those ways is right. Like, some people live in extremes, some people don't. It's just life, and that's okay.
I live in extremes. I relate to him completely.
Same, I do as well. So
Woo!
maybe not in the exact same way. Well, no, you know what? I do relate to that a lot as well. Extremes for the win. Yeah.
Okay, random side thing he likes to do. He likes to run his hands through his hair. I don't know if you've noticed. I like to flip and put my hands in my hair all the time too. And I didn't really notice that about myself until I was watching like all those times when, like, all the other members make fun of him. They're like, Jimin's with his hands in his hair again. And then I was just, as I was watching that, I was going like this, and I was like,
Can we talk about how soft he is and how compassionate and caring he is to the people he loves?
Yes. Jimin has incredible emotional intelligence. He just, it's kind of like intuitive. Like, like, for example, I think Yoongi is the way he is, and he has a lot of empathy for others because he suffered so much himself and he understands. Jimin, I don't think, I mean, he suffered a lot. A lot of it is probably self-inflicted as a perfectionist. Coming from the same place, I feel you, buddy. But also, I just think Jimin is just inherently just caring and empathic.
Yes.
But only for the people he cares about.
Yes. And see, I think that with Jimin, it's very much like he can sense other people's needs and other people's wishes, but he also wants to be the one who helps them. He wants to be the one who can make them feel better, because then he feels good about himself. And that's not a bad thing. It's a very beautiful and lovely thing. That, like, you see somebody being sad and you want to be the person that makes them feel better because you don't want them to be sad, and then it will make you happier for them not to be sad, or to lift their mood, makes you feel good about yourself. I feel like he gets a lot of his personal self-worth through how he can care for those that he loves. And I think that's a really nice thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember like interviews and whatever else they've done where they all said like if they have a problem, it's Jimin they go to for comfort.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which I think is incredible to have that ability to make others feel better consistently.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to give solace to someone else when they're going through a hard time because all you really want to say is, "Oh my God, that sucks. How am I gonna make you feel better? I don't know."
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Takes a lot of just high emotional intelligence.
Yeah, and a lot of people, it would drain their own their own energy and make them feel very negative if they have to be around sadness or like try to make everybody else feel better. It takes a lot out of a lot of people. I feel like with Jimin, he gets a lot of things from doing that, and I can relate because I feel in a similar way about these types of things of like it doesn't drain me, it actually gives me more energy because then both of our energies can come up instead of exchanging one for the other. Like, I don't know, I really like that about him. And I also love that he's just the way that he cares about others, it just goes beyond any type of gender boundaries or stereotypes, or he'll be touchy if he thinks you need a hug, even if like you might not ask for one. He'll do these nice things that maybe men wouldn't specifically do, especially somewhere like Korea. I just love that about him.
Can we just for a moment talk about his dad? Because what a loving, supportive dad. What a good role model.
Yeah.
And someone who supports Jimin being like this.
Like when he sends him flowers.
Literally, I was gonna say, or like for his birthday, where he sent him these beautiful flowers with a message in English, and Jimin was like, "Dad, I don't speak English.
Yeah, that
what
was
does this say?"
Mm-hmm.
But having that kind of reinforcement from your own parents of like, you can be like this. You don't have to conform to these strict masculine stereotypes. Be happy being who you are. To hear his dad call him lovely just literally makes me tear up. It's making me tear up right now.
I agree. It's just so lovely. And he's so unapologetically himself in that sense. And I love that.
That's one of the things I love most about him and that I appreciate the most. That he's like, this is who I am. I'm not going to apologize for being me. I don't fit the mold of what I'm supposed to be in all these different ways as an idol, as a dancer, as a Korean, as a man. I don't care.
And it was him, wasn't it? It was Jimin who said, what is this man thing?
Yeah, because someone
men don't take selfies.
No.
Men don't check their selfies.
Yeah. And Jimin was like, what is man? Like, what? Like, he broke it down. It was like, the logic does not make any sense there.
I loved that.
Or was he the one who made them all start celebrating birthdays and made that like a tradition?
Yes. And he said we have to get each other gifts and cakes and
And I think that is so awesome because can you imagine a world where they weren't like that with each other for all their birthdays? I feel like that brings them closer so much.
Yes. And this is the thing, like a bunch of normal lads who live together away from their families, they wouldn't celebrate their birthdays. They'd be like, oh, happy birthday, man. Here's a birthday punch. Cool. Let's get drunk later. That's it. But like, it's so much more meaningful and caring to get each other gifts and really celebrate it and have a cake. And maybe they don't do it as much anymore, but
Did you see the recent I think it was a recent Bangtan Bomb where it was Jin's birthday and it was at they were on his birthday on December 4th. They were at Mama. So he just keeps walking around saying, it's my birthday, it's my birthday. He's like, and he's like, Jimin, did you get me a cake? He does, I can't remember. He does or does not like chocolate?
He does not like chocolate.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I think so. He's like, I want cream. I want like fresh cream. And Jimin's like, I'm working on it. It's a little hard right now. We're in fucking Hong Kong. And he's like, okay, cool. Make sure you get my birthday cake.
Oh my God. I loved Jin in that video. It was the best. Yeah. But yeah, I think that Jimin brings kind of the what is, and again, I like to use this as quotations, the feminine touch, like that is typically associated with females but shouldn't be. It's just caring, it's being open and inviting people in for a hug, and paying attention to their feelings. Oh, feelings, like that he is able to make everybody else feel comfortable to do that because of his ability to do it himself. And that's just lovely.
It is. You know what else that does? It also makes him just very endearing, so the other members want to dote on him.
Yeah.
Like, I think some examples I have is like the way Yoongi praises him during the Burn the Stage documentary when they're like in the car and Jimin is feeling bad about his singing and not speaking about it, and Yoongi's just like sitting there and just praising him for it. You know, like he, because he knew what Jimin needed, or how like Jimin still shares a room with Hobie, even though I think does anyone else still share a room?
I think they do. I think they still share the rooms, don't they?
Some of them are by themselves now.
Oh, I don't know.
But I just remember, I think it's the Love Yourself movie where Hobie's just like,
Ooh, that picture is doing something to me.
where Hobie's just like, I could live apart, but I don't leave. I continue to live with Jimin because he needs it.
Yes.
And it's like, what a strange way of phrasing that, because it's where you live. Your bedroom is supposed to be where you recover from the day, and if you want to be alone, you should be alone. But having someone be like, no, I care about Jimin and I don't mind living with him. I haven't left. I want to keep being happy with him. Like, that's just so heartfelt.
Because Jimin is somebody who needs companionship. Like,
he is.
He's somebody that needs other people to care about him, and somebody that needs other people to want to spend time with him. And I feel like if it was up to Jimin, he would spend every waking second with another person. Like, I don't think he likes to be alone very much.
I think of him as a flower, and when he's with other people and interacting with them, he grows, like he gets watered, but then when he doesn't get that, he just starts to wither.
Yes, I completely agree. Yeah.
He's a little attention
baby.
whore.
Yeah, but it's fine.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about how he is on stage a little bit more. Because we talked about how, like, incredibly charismatic he is. I also think his command of his body is just incredible. Like, down to, like, the very inch of his body. He knows how he can figure out how to move like that. So he is incredibly talented at expressing the emotions he wants, both in his body and his face. And this is even way back during Lie. Like, Lie is a song that is about struggle, internal conflict, suffering, wanting different things, and he just consistently brought it on stage and displayed that, and I just think it's so incredible.
Well, this, I think, relates to his ability as a dancer, and I have a lot of the same words that you've just used in my paragraph on his dance, and like some of them is expressive, lyrical, fluid. Like, these are the words that I would use to describe him and his dance, and that's a lot of the time what contemporary is all about. It's about telling a story. People should watch it and know what every part of your body is saying, and not just that, but like his fluidity in general of how he can express these things with such, it's very different to Hobie. Hobie is very commanding of, like, I know where to put my body in isolations and move things and that kind of thing. And then with Jimin, it's like my body is
language.
Yes, it's language. Exactly. That's how I would describe the difference between them. Hobie is very much an embodiment of music, and Jimin is very much an embodiment of story. His dancing is very storytelling, and like, I don't know about you, but when I watched the MMA performance when it was first on, and he came out and did that dance to I Need You, the piano version, I cried because it was so beautiful. And I tell you the exact point that I started crying. It was after he did that big flip, and then he did those movements where he extends one leg and then like brings his body over and starts going to a sitting position. That movement, and people don't understand how difficult it is to be that expressive and that beautiful in your movements. That made me cry. It was so beautiful. Yeah, I love contemporary dance as well. It's my favorite style of dancing. And yeah, it just took my breath away.
I think his talent as a dancer, for whatever reason, was being underutilized a bit in the way they were just doing their music. It's like no one's fault. But
Yeah.
What made me very happy was in the final for Love Yourself in Seoul, where they made the VCR where it's supposed to be him and Namjoon. They changed it, and in the new one, he's dancing. So instead of like in the old one where he was what was he doing? Like sitting around, like basically reenacting Serendipity. In this one, he was doing modern dance, like during the VCR. Just made me so happy that they were showcasing his actual talents, because I still think, even with how fucking phenomenal his voice is, his preferred and probably like more expressive way of expressing himself is through his body.
Yes.
So when they allow him to dance and he can showcase how beautiful he can make it, just it touches my heart. It makes me so happy for him. So I agree with you.
When he's able to just dance with no singing, like just those, we don't get it very often, but very occasionally we get to see that, and it's just incredible. I love contemporary dance so much, so I love that. Also, what was it? Yeah, like in terms of like, he can do any style of dance. Like he can do hip hop very, very well, popping, looking very well. But even when he does like hip hop, the thing that always gets me about his dancing is when he does those, like, I don't know how I would describe it, but he used to do it a lot in like the earlier videos, or the when they used to freestyle and things, and it would be almost like a wave, like types of waves of, I'll have to find an example and post it for exactly what I mean. But it's that specific thing about what he brings to that style of dance that's just very different. It's very cool and flowy, and it's something you don't normally see in that style of dance. So it's very specifically him, and I love that.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention is that his can you hear my cat meowing in the background?
Yep.
My little kitten is at the door and she desperately wants to be let in, but if we let her in, she will then claw at the closet door, and then if I open that, she'll claw at the boxes in there, so I don't know what she wants. We're keeping her outside. The thing I wanted the thing I wanted to say is that he has a crazy fast way of learning choreo, which just shows you how talented he is and how much experience he has with dancing, to be able to see someone do a move and be like, okay, I think that's like that, right? And it is. And the example I'll use is, I think it's on Memories 2018. There's a behind the scenes of them getting ready for Festa. And that's the one where he did the Michael Jackson Black or White dance with Jungkook. And so there's like a video of him just like coming into the dance studio, and like the other dancers are there, and he's like, okay, yeah, I'm here, what's the dance? And they teach it to him, and like he learns it, and then he's like, okay, and then JK comes in and they practice their like, you know, they like take off their jackets together in that choreo, and it's just like you can see how quickly he learns all of it, and it's just crazy to me. Like, it really
we
is
even
just...
saw it in them playing Just Dance. Like, you saw it easily. Like, he just picks up on things very well. But I think not only that, but like he always adds some sort of emotion into it, which is like whether that be anger or passion or sadness. Like there's just an emotion to his movements. It's great.
And that's why I say that it's more personal, or a better depiction of his identity, because he doesn't just go I'm dancing, he goes I'm feeling my dance. So he's expressing his insides as he dances and projecting them outward. That's why for me it just feels so much more personal.
I think it's probably uh because with his voice, I feel like he probably finds it a lot harder to get a song right than he does to get a choreo right. Because for me, being a singer, it doesn't matter how much you practice or how good you are, like you're still going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, you're going to worry about whether you're getting it right, how quickly you're going to get it right, whether it's in your range, whether it's going to sound right. Like there are always kind of a lot of worries. Whereas if you're a born dancer and born singer, but if you're like a born dancer and you've trained and you have the capability of it and you've learned it and it's just very natural, then you don't really have to worry about it. The only thing you have to worry about is kind of slipping and falling. That's about it. And if you do, then you get back up again. So I feel like being a perfectionist, it would be much easier to feel confident and feel comfortable in your dance than it would in your voice, because voices are very
I will unfortunately counter that and point out all the times where we've seen them in documentaries where they're in pain and hurt, and especially him.
Well, yeah.
Where his body is just unable to comply with what he wants from it. I'm thinking, of course, of like the time at the end of Wings where he hurt his neck and
well, yeah, injury is a big thing. Yeah.
Or also how like his neck injury flared up again when they were in the UK for Love Yourself, and he couldn't perform in certain places like on the Norton Graham show like he wanted to. And then also I'm thinking of, I think it's again the Love Yourself documentary where he's like with his physical therapist and it's his leg or something, and the physical therapist is like, I'm sorry, this is just how your body's put together, like there is no fixing this, and it will continue to deteriorate the more you dance this strenuously. And you know, Jimin's just like sitting there like frustrated by his own limitations and just like, this is fate, like I'm in a profession, I want to do something that requires me to overuse this over and over again. I relate to that so much. I've mentioned this to you before that like I trained and ran a half marathon, and the physical toll that took on my body just training for it was very painful, and my body started to fall apart even when I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing to minimize that. And it's just like, you want to train, you want to run, you want to do what you're supposed to do, but your body's just like, no, you are not put together in a way that this will be easy or comfortable for you.
Yeah. No, I definitely see what you mean. Yeah, I didn't think about injuries and things like that. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's just, you feel when you're on your A game, when you've trained and you're performing and it's so phenomenal to be a god on stage, to then be constrained by your physical limitations in your muscles, in your voice or whatever, just feels like someone shot off your wings and you've plummeted back to earth.
Yeah.
I think that's why they always get so devastated by it as well.
Yeah, and I think in terms of on a bigger picture, I definitely agree with you. I think they're both very temperamental. I think I meant it more in a sense of in the moment of your voice can break and you can't see it coming. Like, I guess you could have a pain. I don't know. I'm speaking on it as a singer rather than like, I'm not a dancer. I used to dance, but not to the same extent. So I guess I wouldn't really know that side of things. But I just know as a singer, it's very temperamental. Anyway, let's talk about his voice some more.
His voice.
I just love how purely unique it is.
Yes.
You know that it's Jimin singing if he is singing. If something played, you would know it was Jimin straight away. And that's a very special thing to have. Like that's a lot of things that singers strive for is I want people to recognize my voice as my voice.
Yeah. I didn't we talk about this where we said that like to be a memorable singer doesn't mean you have to have the loudest, most like perfect, like intense voice. You need to have a voice that touches people, that emotionally connects with people, that makes them go, hey, I know who's singing. Oh, I love this. Not, oh, wow, like that's a really great ad lib there.
Yes. Like the technique is always second. Like I I'm not going to name any names, but I know a lot of very technically good singers that I just feel nothing when I watch them sing or when I hear them sing.
Same.
It doesn't mean anything. It's just okay, cool. You practiced a lot. Nice. And I don't know, it's just the people that I connect to the most, their voices are those that
Connect with your heart?
yes, connect with your heart and goes straight through you. And that's something Jimin does very well. I don't speak Korean, but listening to Filter without the lyrics, I know that it's sensual and he's trying to be playful.
Oh
like
my
listening
God.
to Serendipity, it sounds very larger than life and just tempting and soft and
can we talk about Filter and his voice? So that is like the first time I've heard him sing falsetto and then drop and give you like a nice little short phrase in his deep voice and then go back to singing higher. Like the first time I heard that,
screamed.
It tickled me like on my insides. Not where you're thinking, but just like on the insides of my ears. I was like, what am I hearing? I just feel like someone touched me. Like, oh boy, this is really...
I need you all to do this after this is over, and I need you to do it as well. I will try and find it somewhere, and I will post it, and I will send it to you. It's like a ASMR version of Promise, and it goes all around your head, and it like whispers all around you. It's the most incredible thing I've ever heard. I will find it, and you all need to listen to it because my God, it's amazing. Like it's like he's whispering in different like oh yeah, I'll find it.
So all of those edits that armies make and like post to YouTube of like stuff like that, stuff like where they like change the music so it sounds like you're listening to it in an empty concert hall, or like I love that, and I feel like that didn't really exist before BTS. Like
I don't know really,
because I spent a lot of time on YouTube and like other artists like you'd hear their music, you would hear maybe like remixes from like just people
the vocal.
Online. Yeah, but just like the amount of creative manipulation that people do to their music just literally to provide greater enjoyment of BTS's music is phenomenal. And partially it's because we love them so much, but also because they inspire our own creativity, and I love that.
Yes. I also think that Jimin just brings something to the team with his voice, because as much as they all have very unique and very like personal to themselves voices, if you hear Jin, JK, and Tae, I think Tae brings the other element as well sometimes with certain uses of his voice. But like if you hear the three of them together, it blends very well as a unit, but you can always hear Jimin like as a separate entity, like always. So I just feel like he adds such an extra layer to their sound that not many groups have. Yeah, and his voice just, you can pick it out. Like I say, like it's very different, and it's very like I know a few male singers that have that kind of voice, and it's just really different, and I just love it. Yeah, it's great.
I love it so much.
So I'm cautious of time. So let us speed round what we have written.
All right, things we love about Park Jimin.
Okay. His duality.
Yeah.
We've talked about it slightly, but
Yeah.
he is the cutest little bean I've ever seen in my life, and he is also the sexiest thing ever. And the way that he uses that to his advantage, because he knows both things is true. I remember seeing a video of him where he was like, it was something like, do you think you're cute or sexy? And he was like, well, I don't really think I'm very sexy, so I guess I'll pick cute. And I was like, oh, shut up, Jimmy. That's a lie.
I prefer his more recent response to the question, to the noisy questionnaire, where he was just like, cutie, sexy, lovely. I'm like, yes. Actually, was that? I don't remember who it was, but that was his answer. And I'm like, that is a more accurate.
It was. But this was in a recent thing. I think it might have been, the
You okay there?
Sao Paulo concert DVD.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might have been that. And he was like, oh, I don't think I'm very sexy. And we were just
Fucking
like,
liar.
Liar! He knows he has both, and he uses them.
Yeah.
Okay,
moving on. I'm going to mention his performance of Perfect Man. I've rewatched that so often. It's freaking amazing.
I wonder if he knows how iconic it is.
Probably.
He probably does,
It's
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
You know what else? I have another one. How he likes to wear his jackets through one sleeve only.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I think...
And just have it drape.
Do you think it's because he's got a dancer's, like, posture, so he's used to kind of having one shoulder dropped?
I don't know. I just know that, like, when I was a kid in school, I think I tried to do that once because I thought it was cool, and then my teacher probably told me it was stupid. So... I love seeing him do that because I've always thought it was cool.
I think it had something to do with his posture.
Maybe.
And his posture as a dancer, so he always has one off. But he also plays up on it so much. So
yeah,
they all have these things that they do that they know drives people wild, like Tay with his gum.
His imaginary gum.
Yeah, his imaginary gum. Did you see that video that the Bang Tampon they posted today?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my god, Jimin is literally like to Tay, why are you pretending to have gum again? And he's like, oh, it's just a habit. And I was like, shut up. You know what?
You know what else is a habit? Jimin showing his shoulder and then being like, oh, it was an accident.
It was an accident. Yeah.
No, it's not. You think it's sexy. That's fine. We also think it's sexy.
I've been watching like the old videos, and there's this one video of Jimin and it's so funny to me. And he's like, oh, this is how I flirt with the camera. And he's like, he's like a little baby. And he's trying to flirt with the camera. And he's like, first you smile like this. And he's being so... I die when I watch it because it's so funny. And like, I don't know. I just find it so funny. It's so funny.
I love him.
I love him so much.
Speaking of Taeyong, though, I love his friendship with Taeyong.
That's on mine as well.
I love their song that they made together.
Yeah.
It makes me cry every time. By the time it hits the end, like I sing
it's
along.
when they're singing "You Are My Soulmate."
Yes, yeah, like the last time they do it, where they change the
with
key.
The choir.
Yeah, I'm just like I sing. I get there and I'm like my soulmate.
I just think that what's so great about the two of them is they have such different approaches to life. But they also have so many similarities, and like you can tell that they have one of those relationships where they challenge one another, but it's never enough to push the other one away. It's to increase each other's development and loving each other whilst doing it. And I just really love that about their friendship. And obviously, like, they must have just grown so close because of the fact that they're the same age. And I think their friendship is adorable.
Yeah.
Fun
fact, I was watching one of their lives or Bangtan Moms, can't remember it, but according to Jimin made the melody for Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, it was on I think it was on a Cool FM. I think it was on their radio show when they're talking about that.
Because that's fucking phenomenal.
But this is the thing, like, there are so many things that we don't know about like which member contributed to which thing, because they've said it's like a song camp, isn't it? And then all their ideas get kind of mentioned. Sometimes the members don't even know, like, because there were members that were like, "Oh, really?"
That's mine.
When they said
And
that,
they're like, yeah.
or no, it's like, "Oh, Jimin wrote that? Oh, I didn't know."
Yeah.
Like,
Well, again, this goes back to the whole concept of like it's a communal ownership of the final
Yes.
product. So
Exactly.
they're not keeping a tally of how many
Yes.
seconds who got what in
Yeah.
each song. No fucking pie charts are happening over there.
Yeah. It's not like, "Oh, we'll have equal distribution of every member." It's like, well, which of these is going to make us all as a whole shine? Cool.
Mm-hmm. All right. Do you have a thing?
Yes. So, oh, I love his Slytherin antics and how much he just like cheats everyone out of things, or like he is so good at just getting things to his own advantage, like when he's playing games and things, and like being sly about it. And oh my god, I just love it when he shows his Slytherin characteristics. They make me laugh so much.
Yeah, me too. I think it's so relatable.
Mhm.
And, okay, another thing he does is I love seeing on all their Bon Voyages where he's just singing in the background. Like, where he's just like feeling the urge and he bursts out into song. Because I do that. And I look at him and I'm like, see, other people do it too. Why does everybody tell me to be quiet? No one tells him to be quiet.
True, yeah. I want to talk about how funny he is.
Yes.
Especially lately. Like, he's been so funny lately. And I think it's because he's just become so much more, like, confident and happy in who he is. And, like, knowing his weaknesses, his strengths, his limitations, and just using them and owning them. And you can just feel how much more he enjoys making a fool of himself, because he doesn't care about being embarrassed anymore, because he likes who he is. And I really like that. And he's become so much more like loud and boisterous, and yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. I loved in the their last Bon Voyage where he just kept opening the window and like screaming lines for, I think it's from movies out the window. I like his jewelry tastes. Like, I love that he wears like 300 different rings at once.
Yeah.
And that he performs with that.
How do they do that?
I don't know, because I take off every piece of jewelry when I go to the gym, and I can't imagine like having something be sweaty and then just like flinging off my hand while so like, what is it that they're doing to like making sure that their jewelry doesn't come off? Speaking of jewelry though, he used to have that necklace that said ARMY on it, but then he lost it.
That was so sweet.
But now he has his Chanel necklace that he never takes off.
So I'm just gonna quick fire everything I have, and then you can say everything you have, because it'll be quicker. So I love how pretty he is. He's so fucking pretty. His face looks like a doll. He's so pretty. Like, in terms of male, female, non-binary, anything, he is just a pretty person, and I'm jealous. The fact that he acts a lot older than his age at times, like how much responsibility he takes on, how much he cares for others, and he's kind of like the support for everyone, even though he's one of the youngest. The way he interacts with armies, especially during V Lives, I think his was one of the first V Lives I watched, and I remember watching it just like, he's so cute, he's so sweet, because he's just like, it's always eye contact, smiling, and like just he's very attentive.
Yeah,
like,
it's a good way.
And he makes you feel like it's all about you. Like, I'm paying attention to you, and everything I'm doing is for you, and it's just really sweet. His big boss energy, I love that.
You say that as that picture comes up, definitely.
Yeah, right. CEO Jimin. How jealous he is makes me laugh so much. I love his jealousy. That's so funny. Oh my god, the meme, the bitch you thought meme. Have you seen it? Where like, you know those images of like girls with their boyfriends, and then when you click on it, it's like, bitch, you thought.
Oh yeah, and it's like him and Namjoon.
With Namjoon, and every time it's like,
yeah, I love them so much.
it's so funny. Oh my god. His clumsiness. But I think he does a lot of them on purpose to be cute.
Yeah.
That's my theory. Because some of them, you're just like, Jimin, you did not really fool just then. That was just cute. Okay, and then how his eyes disappear when he laughs. Adorable. And how sassy he is. Yeah.
Love it. We've said like everything that I wanted to say. The only thing I just want to say is I've always connected with his spirit, with his way of wanting to live life, with his beauty physically and on stage, with the way he expresses himself. His playfulness, his flirtiness, his charisma, his love for others. Everything is something I relate to, something that I support, something I strive to be, and something that I admire when I see in him. He makes me want to be a better person.
이 모든 건 우연이 아니야. 그냥 나의 느낌으로 온 세상이 어제와는 달라. 그냥 너의 기쁨으로 네가 날 불렀을 땐 나는 너의 꽃으로 기다렸던 것처럼 우리 시리도록 펴. 어쩌면 우주의 섭리 그냥 그랬던 거야. You know I know 너는 나는 너. 설레는 만큼 많이 두려워. 운명이 우릴 자꾸 질투했어. 너만큼 나도 많이 무서워. When you see me, when you touch me, 우주가 우릴 위해 움직였어. 조금의 어긋남조차 없었어. 너와 내 행복은 예정됐던 걸. Cause you love me and I love you. 넌 내 푸른 곰팡이, 날 구원해준 나의 천사, 나의 세상. 난 네 삶새 고향이 널 만나러 온 Love me now, touch me now. Just let me love you. Just let me love you. 우주가 처음 생겨났을 때부터 모든 건 정해진 거였어. Just let me love you. 넌 내 푸른 곰팡이, 날 구원해준 나의 천사, 나의 세상. 난 네 삶새 고향이 널 만나러 온 Love me now, touch me now. Just let me love you. Just let me love you. 우주가 처음 생겨났을 때부터 모든 건 정해진 거였어. Just let me love you. 인생 곁에 와줘, 우리가 되어줘. I don't wanna let go, no. 그냥 맡기면 되는 거야. 말 안 해도 느껴지잖아. 별들은 떠 있고 우린 날고 있어. 절대 끝은 아냐. 떨지 말고 내 손을 잡아 이제 우리가 되는 거야 Let me love you Just let me love you Just let me love you 우주가 처음 생겨났을 때부터 모든 건 정해진 거였어 Just let me love you Let me love you